Gates open at Arapahoe Park. Having a Triple Crown champion in horse racing is one of the rarest occurrences in sports, happening in 2015 for the first time in 37 years. But horse racing takes place almost every day of the year. So on this episode of Gates Open, we take you back to Arapahoe Park stable area and put the spotlight on the horses that are the sport's foundation and the people who keep the sport going behind the scenes. We're showing you the behind the scenes of horse racing and some of sport's most majestic athletes. So get a leg up, come on to the track, and be ready for the start because the horses are at the post. Welcome to a behind the scenes look of horse racing. I'm Jonathan Horowitz, the announcer at Arapahoe Park. Arapahoe Park hosts 9 horse races each racing day, so think of it like a 9-inning baseball game. But instead of the same 2 teams playing all 9 innings, imagine a baseball game where some innings are played by major league teams, some by AAA teams, some by AA teams, and some by single A teams. Because at the track, you see different caliber horses for different races. Horse racing's marquee events are stakes races, with the most prize money, names for the races, and trophies for the winning connections. The Phoenix Stakes at Keeneland in Lexington, Kentucky, is the oldest American stakes race still in existence, with its first running dating back to 1831. Before they become stakes winners, all racehorses start out as maidens, the term for winless horses. Secretariat, Seattle Slew, and Affirmed all earned their first career victory in maiden races before becoming Triple Crown horse racing champions. Maiden races are for horses that have never won a race in their careers. They serve as the first stepping stones horses use to what their owners hope will be successful careers. Some horses get over this first hurdle relatively easily. Seattle Slew barely broke a sweat in a 5-length victory in his 1976 maiden debut at New York's Belmont Park. Others take their time to figure out the racing game. Perhaps the most famous maiden of all time was Zippy Chippy, a luckless horse from the Northeast who was winless in 100 starts from 1994 to 2004, although he did finish second or third 20 times. Claiming races are the meat and potatoes of racing programs in the U.S. that account for approximately half of all races in this country. When the subcategory of maiden claiming races is included, the percentage jumps to nearly 2/3 of all races. Claiming races are for horses that can be purchased for a set price, and the claiming price determines the quality of the race. The claiming prices can range at racetracks from a few $1,000s to $100,000. Theoretically, the lower the claiming price, the easier the race is to win, but the more of a chance for a talented horse to be claimed. Claiming races are horse racing capitalism. Allowance races are for horses that meet certain conditions established by the racing secretary who sets the eligibility requirements for that race. Eligibility can be determined by maximum races or money won in a career or given period of time. Consequently, each allowance attracts a certain quality of horse. Horses almost always begin their careers in maiden races for horses that have never won, but where do they go once they get that first win? If it is straight to stakes races, the competition may be too tough for an inexperienced runner. If it is to claiming race, the hopeful owner might lose the horse if someone decides to claim him. So this is where allowance races become important. When horses are trying a harder level than what they are accustomed to, they are stepping up in class. When trying a lower level, they are stepping down in class. This is equivalent to a baseball player moving up or down from AAA to the major leagues. Presumably, a minor league ball player will find major league pitching harder to handle than in the minors, and vice versa. The same is true for horses. Gates Open at Arapahoe Park is presented by the His Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan Global Arabian Horse Flat Racing Festival.
On the edge of glory in the Waspa Stud Farm Cup, and Breezal LZP with Carlo Lopez looking over the shoulder for the competition that hasn't emerged yet.
With races in 11 countries, the Waspa Stud Farm Cup will be held at Arapahoe Park on May 24th, July 5th, and August 9th. Behind the growth of horse racing in Colorado, the Colorado Horse Racing Association, the Colorado Thoroughbred Breeders Association, the Rocky Mountain Quarter Horse Association, Colorado Owners and Breeders of Racing Arabians, Cantor, Colorado, finding new homes for retired racehorses. The trophies in horse racing go to the stakes horses, but more than half of all horse races in the United States are like this one, claiming races. Claiming races are for horses that can be purchased for a set price. The claiming price determines the quality of the race. The race you're watching from Arapahoe Park on June 20th, 2015 is for $3,200, but some claiming races have price tags as high as $100,000. There's somewhat of a give and take among the owners and trainers that enter their horses in claiming races. On one hand, the owner risks that another owner could decide to claim or purchase their horse in that race. On the other hand, the owner wants to enter the horse at a claiming level where the horse can win. This race epitomizes claiming contests. A big field, a competitive race, and a horse that was dismissed as a 23-1 long shot, but tries his heart out to the end.
Dynawacky moving into the clear to the outside in second, and then Zacchaeus in third place. It's Majorca Sun racing inside the final 100 yards. Dynawacky taking a run at him, cutting the lead to just the length. Here comes Dynawacky, lunging at Majorca Sun. Dynawacky takes the lead and pulls the upset at 23-1. A double for jockey Dennis Collins. Dynawacky scores over Majorca Sun, and then came a day away in Zacchaeus.
A 23-1 long shot may seem like a fluke, but winning at a big price is nothing new to Dynawacky. He was also big odds in this claiming race at Turf Paradise in Phoenix in April. It's almost like a replay or a pre-play of his Arapahoe Park victory because he wins with the exact same style.
Past the quarter pole and now fit for duty, making the move for Lopez, taking the lead into the home stretch from high on final. Aaron Walker guiding Dynawacky out to the center of the track for a run as they come to the final furlong, and the favorite Fit for Duty trying to hold on with Dynawacky closing quickly at 35-1, and Son of a Pistola getting up in between horses. Big upset for Dynawacky, turning it around and scoring the win for Aaron Walker. It's Dynawacky who is the winner over Son of a Pistola.
I've watched Aaron Walker, an apprentice in Turf Paradise, ride this horse and come from off of the pace up on the rail. And there was a little bit of speed there, and I knew if I can get him to relax enough but stay close enough to the pace, you can't get him to relax too much.
Giving their all week in, week out is what makes Dynawacky and other claiming horses so beloved among the horsemen that know them.
Claiming horses try a lot harder than the stake horses do. And if you look at the races, you know, you'll have a claiming race, $5,000 claiming race, go down 3/4 in 109. Then you see the stake race go down there in 111. You know, and start thinking, well, geez, I could have put my claimer in there and beat him.
Off and running in the Kentucky Derby.
And that's precisely what the connections of a horse named Charismatic decided to do after winning a claiming race for $62,500. This isn't a claiming race, it's the most famous horse race in the United States, the Kentucky Derby from 1999. Thinking their claiming horse was as fast as the stakes horse, owners Bob and Beverly Lewis and trainer Dwayne Lucas moved Charismatic up in class. The horse kept meeting the challenge, eventually taking on the best at Churchill Downs. The winner of the $1 million Kentucky Derby in 1999 could have been claimed on 2 separate occasions for $62,500.
Charismatic now shut down for the drive, and he's gaining ground and prime timbers on the far outside. In the stretch drive of the Derby, it's still Cat Thief from Worldly Manor. Charismatic up to join the top pair. Cat Thief, here comes Charismatic to color him on the outside. And a late charge from the filly, excellent meeting. But in deep stretch, Charismatic has hit the front, and Charismatic, Menifee flying late. Charismatic wins the Derby by an act to a flying Menifee, and Cat Thief was third in Kentucky Derby number 125.
Trainer Hirsch Jacobs hit it big when he claimed Stymie as a 2-year-old for $1,500 for his wife Ethel in 1943. The horse went on to win 35 races, including numerous major stakes, and earned $918,485, the most ever by any racehorse when he retired in 1947. He now has a $100,000 stakes race named after him at Aqueduct in New York.
Turco Bravo upsets the field in the stymie.
So if you've ever dreamed of owning a racehorse, you might start with an inexpensive claimer, because you never know what the future holds for him. Live horse racing at Arapahoe Park takes place from May 22nd to August 16th on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays starting at 1 p.m.
Gates open, the Miles Massey Handicap is underway.
Keep up with the latest online at myhighracing.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/Arapahoe Racing, and on Twitter at JJ Horowitz.
Miss Dixie and Lil Rich Girl in a photo finish that goes to Miss Dixie holding on by the narrowest of margins.
So we're in barn 18, Kim Oliver's barn, with the horse all of her dots in a row, and with Scott Shuldberg. Set us up for this behind the scenes look at what we're going to be doing today.
Well, today this horse is due for new shoes. About every 30 days, these horses receive shoes. I mean, these people spend over $100 every 30 days on shoes for their horses. And a lot of little kids don't get a $100 pair of shoes to go to school. And you look at the number of horses in this barn, and at 100 or more per horse, you know, they spend a lot of money on a lot of really good cares taken to the race horses.
Now, when you go into like Foot Locker, wherever you buy shoes, you get all different varieties. Is it one shoe for all horses, or are there different varieties?
There's different varieties, and today we're putting a special shoe on this horse. It's called a bonded shoe. It's got a softer bottom to allow for some more cushion for this horse.
So it's kind of like a pump almost.
Well, yeah, it's to a point. It's like a pump. It's just got some extra cushion. It's like buying a really good pair of Dr. Scholl's inserts for your shoes. And there's many different applications, not just traditionally with the nails. We also just use strictly acrylic, no nails. Glue the shoes on the horse, that gets expensive. Special shoes with clips for horses that are hard to keep shoes on. There's a lot of different applications.
So let's see how it's done, getting a new pair of shoes.
Our first step is we gotta simply remove the old shoe. And then we take a knife and we're going to pare out what we consider the dead part of the foot, the dead sole. Right in here, it just flakes out nicely. Remove the excess frog. This part of the foot is considered the frog.
Okay.
This is kind of like the heart of the foot. This is the blood. This is what pumps the blood pretty much, is the frog of the foot. So this hits the ground and it pumps. And a lot of people get the thought that this foot is solid. A hoof capsule is not solid. I can push on this and you can see this foot expands and contracts every time a foot hits the ground. This moves. So our next step here, I'll show you, is we're gonna nip the foot. We're gonna cut off the dead foot. Now this is really similar to you and I trimming our fingernails when they get too long. And the reason we do this is that for soundness, if you let a horse's feet get too long, you can start having structural problems with bones and ligaments and things like that. And it also comes down to a safety issue. If they get too long, they'll start to stumble and trip, and it can cause, you know, danger on the racetrack. The key is you want this foot to be level, because when the foot hits the ground, you don't want it to rock like this. So you need to have the foot level from side to side and from front to back. So we've got our foot level. I'm gonna take one more swipe with my knife right here. Now it's time to shape the shoe. You pick the correct size. All the shoes are not the same size. They vary anywhere from a 4 to a 8. 4 being the smallest, excuse me, John. 4 being the smallest, 8 being a very large horse. Pick the correct size, and then you have to shape the shoe to fit the foot. A lot of people think when we nail them on that it hurts, but if you can see here on the outside of this foot where it's dark, you see this line coming around right here. And this is what they call the white line. Everything outside of here is just like your fingernail. All this is like underneath your nail. So if you drive a nail in here, yes, it's gonna hurt them. But if you drive a nail out here where you're supposed to, where you can see that these nail holes were, then you're in the safe zone.
And you said every month a horse has to get new shoes.
At the track, pretty much. The saddle horses and rodeo horses and that are usually 6 to 8 weeks.
And what is that for?
This is just a fly spray to try to keep the flies away. They start biting them and then the
Oh,
horses
sure,
start
yeah.
fidgeting.
Now, this isn't just a one-man job. You have an assistant here with you. And so who do you have with you this
Year
summer?
I have a young man that I'm also teaching how to steer wrestle. His name's Jace DeHardy. He's 17. He'll be a senior in high school next year. Pretty good kid some days.
We all are.
So right now he's in the process of just learning this. So he's holding the race horses, learning some more horsemanship skills, but when we shoe the pony horses and things like that, he's stepping up and starting to do some of the work.
Does it require a lot of strength to get the nail in?
No, it's hard to hit it. I mean, I've done it so long, but that head of that nail's not very big. And I can drive these all day, but you give me a piece of wood and a regular hammer and I'll hit my thumb every time. Now, we've got it nailed on, so the next process we're gonna use is securing it. We're gonna, what we call clinching. We're gonna use a crimper, basically, to clinch the nails over and back into the foot, and then we'll rasp them off for a smooth finish. I'm gonna draw a line under these nails and knock just a little bit of the sharp edge off, and then I'm gonna take my clincher and I'm going to just crimp them back over. Now we'll put the finishing touches on them. You'll notice right here at the back of this shoe, it sticks out just a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that's where, when I was talking, the shoe itself sticks out. When I was talking about how that foot expands and contracts, you don't want to keep your shoe completely crammed in here, because when that foot hits the ground, it's got to be able to move with the shoe. And if you keep them too tight, it can cause issues such as what we call a quarter crack, where a horse will develop a crack that'll run from the hairline down like this, and which entails, after that happens, we'll have to sometimes cut them out and go back in with wire and wire them together, and then cover them with acrylic and to hold it back together. So that's a front foot. We're going to kind of go through the exact same steps on the back foot,
And you'll do all?
I'm going to do all 4.
What's it like for you to see a horse that you've shoed have success? Do you take some of the credit for it?
I don't try to take the credit. These guys do the day-to-day work. I take pride, but I don't take the credit. You know, I'm not much of a gambler, but every once in a while, if I find an issue with a horse that I think we really help, like say the horse has been sore for a period of time, and all of a sudden we shoe him when we find an issue, you know, and I try to do something to change it, then I take a little, you know, in my own pride, I take some of the credit, but I don't go around saying, you know, I did that, because I didn't do it. Their day-to-day hard work in these shed rows, they're up at, you know, 5 in the morning in here rubbing legs, galloping horses, and Brett at this barn and Kim, they don't ever leave. I mean, it doesn't matter what time of the day I need to come down here to see Brett, he's here, and so is Kim.
Well, I think you should take some of the credit, because if you watch the commercials for Air Jordans, they're going to make you a better basketball player, and these shoes make the horses just that much more comfortable, maybe that much more faster.
I think, you know, certain shoes can help a horse, but these guys make the call pretty much, you know. I try to work with the trainer, you know, when we come up with a solution for each individual horse.
So just to summarize it real quick, what are the different types of options for shoes?
Traditional nail-ons, you've got different styles as far as a toe grab, no toe grab, the shoe that we use today, the bonded shoe, glue-on shoes. There's some really neat glue-on shoes that are out. There's a polyurethane shoe made by Easy Boot that is a really neat glue-on shoe. There's another aluminum shoe called an E-Tab, you know, or you can just take a traditional shoe like a plain race plate and apply adhesive to the bottom and glue that right onto the foot. So your application methods are pretty much glue or nails. So, but there's just different styles that vary.
And price range?
As far as like purchase price?
As far as to be able to make sure your horse has good shoes every month, is there a one price for all, or as you get
varies.
to the more complicated?
I start, like what we did today would be $110 with the blue shoes. Up here, California, that's probably $180. West Coast or East Coast, Florida, I was told by a friend of mine the other day that he was getting $190. And it goes up from there. The glue-on start at about $300 for the fronts, and they can go up. And you know, then you make bar shoes for things where you weld an aluminum bar in to solidify that shoe if you need to hold the foot together. You know, you just vary your price on what the job is.
But thank you, Scott, for explaining it all, because now when we watch the races, there's so much that goes into getting the horse onto the track.
Yeah, there is, and it's a group effort from the gallop people to the trainer to the horseshoer to the vet, you know, and the grooms. You know, the grooms put endless hours in under these horses.
And they deserve a lot of the credit, so it's great to show the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jace. With trainer Kim Oliver, who's graciously allowed us into her barn number 18 here at Arapahoe Park, and we just shod Oliver Dots in a row. Tell us a little bit about Oliver Dots in a row. She hasn't raced yet, so when we do see her race, what should we expect?
Well, she's a 3-year-old and she hasn't started yet. She's we've bred her, and her older sister is Sweet Peaceful Dream, who's actually in the Retired Racehorse Project. But so we've just been going slow with her, and so hopefully she'll run in a Colorado bred maiden race, and hopefully she'll win.
So we've seen how it all starts, and now we'll see her on the track, and this was one of her old shoes. Horseshoes are good luck, so now that I'm holding a horseshoe, how do I ensure that I get good luck?
Well, you have to hold it this way so that the luck stays in, because if you pour it out, you pour out your luck. Or you turn it upside down, you pour out your luck.
So wishing very good luck to Kim and to all of her Dots in a row, and this is where it all starts, barn 18 at Arapahoe Park.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's gates open at Arapahoe Park, and until your next time out at the horse races, I'm Jonathan Horowitz. Keep picking winners.